My name's Adrian. My Eskimo name is Druswak, which just means the big Englishman. Doesn't mean anything more than that. And just going to chat to you for 20 minutes or so about Greenland. It's a country I'm sure you've heard of. But people forget about Greenland. People go on holiday to Spain, don't they? They go on holiday to America, to France, to Italy, to Greece, to Sweden even. But nobody goes on holiday to Greenland. It's a place that people forget. But the thing is, it's such a big country, it's hard to miss it. It's the biggest island in the world. And no, it's the biggest country. But Greenland is the biggest island. But it's a good guess. Greenland is 31 times bigger than Ireland. Now that's a big country. But not many people live there. In fact, County Mayo has 4 times as many people that the whole of Greenland does. Now, why do you think that is? If you look at that map behind me up there, all you can see is a white splodge, lump. Yeah? Because there's nothing in the middle of Greenland. Why do you think they made it white? It's all ice, exactly that. It's all ice. It's the world's second biggest ice cube, is Greenland. If you can imagine, thousands and thousands of years ago, it started to snow in the summertime, in the winter. And at the end of the winter, summer came, and some of the snow melted, and some more of the snow melted. And before it could all go, the next winter arrived, and more snow fell. So now you have a bit more than you had last winter. And then the spring came, and some of it thawed, and some of it thawed in the summer, and you got more thaw, and more, and you got to the end of August, and more snow started. And over a period of all those years, all that snow has become so heavy it's turned to solid ice. And that makes the country very cold. As you can imagine, when you put your hand close to the door of your freezer, if you open the door, you can feel the cold coming out, don't you? Yeah. Now, in the centre of Greenland, up there on the ice, it can be 3 times colder than your freezer. It can be -60. Now that is so cold, it's hard to imagine. So nothing lives up there, but there's a few animals that live around the edge. Not many animals. Now, let's have some hands, we'll take some guesses. Nice quiet hands. One at the back there, yes, what animal? Polar bear, yes. Now, let's talk about the polar bear for a minute. With more animals in a minute. Polar bear, he's the king, he's the boss of the Arctic, he's the boss of the north part of the world. Dangerous animal, probably the most dangerous animal in the world. If you put a polar bear and a lion together, the lion wouldn't stand much of a chance, because the lion lives in a hot country. He doesn't have a thick fur and a lot of fat on him, otherwise he would die of the heat. But the polar bear's claw, which is very, very long, could rip through a lion very easily. A lion's claw, which is the same size nearly, wouldn't cut through a polar bear because he's got such thick fur and such a lot of fat that you wouldn't damage him. And he's one of the few animals in the world that will look at you if he sees you and think, food. He will eat you as soon as look at you. Now, he's a big animal, isn't he? You see the picture there over there? Yeah. Now, you can't really tell how big he is because there's nothing beside him. If you saw a person standing beside him, you might have an idea of how big he is. Or if you were standing beside a Land Rover, you'd get an idea of how big he is. But polar bears sometimes like to stand up on their back legs and to look around them. And when they do, they are rather tall. Now, if I say 3 metres, that doesn't kind of mean an awful lot. But if I tell you that that's where that bar going across is just over 3 metres, you can get an idea of how big a polar bear is when he stands on his back legs. Now, I have a photograph here of a polar bear on his back legs. The polar bear is this one, not that one. Alright? That one's my wife. Well, actually not a polar bear. I wouldn't survive if she was. She's an opera singer, which is very nearly a polar bear sometimes. And she's quite tall. My photographer can tell you that. She's quite a tall lady. But that bear is a big animal. Now, he's dead. He's obviously not alive because Margaret wouldn't survive if she was holding hands with a live polar bear. This one has been stuffed and put in the entrance of the Greenland government building. And when you... No, there isn't. You'd think so, wouldn't you? big enough. But now, when you walk in the door of the Greenland government building, in most government buildings there'd be a man standing there, a policeman maybe, or a guard, or someone in uniform with a rifle and a big uniform. But you walk in the Greenland building, there's no security man, there's just a polar bear standing there. You don't break into that building at night if you don't know, you break in there and you take one look at that, you're gone. Now, so the polar bear, now here's a tricky question. It's not such an easy question as it sounds. What colour is a polar bear's fur?
White.
No, actually.
What? Grey.
Grey. No, it's not. If we think of a polar bear as white, and in that photograph, the sun is shining right on him and he looks white through a camera. But I can show you, let me show you that again.
Yellow.
He's kind of a yellowy colour, yellowy cream. And I can show you a real piece of polar bear fur. Over here. In Greenland. See, it's not really white, is it? It's a kind of a funny colour. And the reason why sometimes it looks white and other times it looks yellow, depending on what light is shining at him, is because his fur actually has no colour. If you take one hair and look at it under a microscope or a magnifying glass even, you can see the hair is absolutely see-through. It's like glass. You can see through it. It's absolutely clear. And what that does, because inside the hair, there's air. There's a bit of air. It's like a tube full of air. There's air in the hair. And what that does, when it's sunny, the air in the hair, these millions of hairs, gets warmer. Just like you standing in front of the window on a sunny day when it's cold outside. It's very warm inside the window. And all that warm fur goes down the fur into his skin, which is what colour? No. It's black. Yeah, if you take all the fur off the polar bear, you can't really see too well there. But deep down the bottom there, it's nearly black. And yeah, it's not very clear. That's not polar bear. That's not polar bear. But the black skin takes all that warmth. And why do we wear dark colours in the winter to keep us warm? He's wearing dark colours. So he's nice and warm. He can be warm down to the coldest temperatures in the world. He's quite happy. But what does he eat? He's got to eat something. He can't just wander down to Tesco, can he? No. He never get in the car. So what does he eat?
Fish.
No, he doesn't. Tell you why. Fish are too fast for him. They swim pretty fast. And while the polar bear can swim pretty fast too, he's not fast enough for fish. Occasionally in the winter he'll find a piece of fish frozen against the ice on the sea. But generally they don't eat fish. Now I don't respond to people making noises. Yes? Well, you could do that. What do they eat in the wild? Yes, back. Yeah, I'll give you a clue. No, I don't respond. What animal lives in the sea that isn't a fish? No, they like water. They don't have water. Sorry? Seahorse? No, they don't. They like more water. We have a similar animal around the coast in this country. A different version of the same animal. No. Shark's a fish, that's right. Seals. They love seals. Now there are lots of different sorts of seals that live in the seas around Greenland. One of them is called the ringed seal. He's called ringed because there's little ring patterns in his fur. And he's the favourite food of the polar bear, the ringed fur of a ringed seal. You see the rings? It's a fairly rough fur. It's not such a nice one to touch. But it keeps the seal warm. And if it keeps the seal warm, it can keep me warm. It will keep the Eskimo warm. So they will wear clothes made of sealskin quite a lot because it keeps them warm. And this is another type of seal. Just move the flowers on it. And you can see this one is sort of a silvery grey, much softer. And it's got little scrodges of brown on him. Now he's called a harp seal. I've never seen one playing a harp. I don't think they could. That's difficult in the fact that their flippers are in the wrong place. You know. There are lots of different seals. And the polar bear eats a lot of seals. Now, when the polar bear has finished his meal, he leaves a bit of a mess. He's not a very tidy eater. You know, he doesn't eat all the seal for a start, which is a bit naughty. And he leaves a mess on the ice. He doesn't like the fur. He doesn't like the fat. He just likes the meat. So he leaves a lot of dead seal on the ice.
So he eats meat?
Yes. So maybe 100 metres away, a few kilometres away, there'll be another little animal who will follow the polar bear as far as he can from land. And he'll hide behind a piece of ice or a rock until the polar bear has gone. And then he'll zip in and he'll clean up what the polar bear's left behind. Now, what sort of animal is that you're going to have? No, it's the actual land animal we're talking about now. Penguins are about 12,000 miles away. If you remember, polar bears live at the top of the world, penguins live at the bottom of the world. Okay? And they never actually meet. That animal, you can see the little Killala up there. That little animal there. No, they're not polar bears, more colour. And that is the Arctic fox. The Arctic fox. He's what we call a scavenger. He likes to eat up what people leave behind. He's the sort of animal, in this country, the fox is a scavenger. We have a different fox, don't we? But he'll raid dustbins and he'll eat up what people leave behind. That's why they're so good in the towns. But the Arctic fox is a scavenger. He eats up what the polar bear leaves. He's like a Hoover, a vacuum cleaner. But the Arctic, he tidies up. So if you're walking around and you see an Arctic fox, you think, well, maybe there's a polar bear close by. I better be careful. Get your rifle just in case. Because you can't argue with a polar bear.
What if they have a sword? Yes. What if you have a sword? If you have a sword, a gun or a sword, a weapon. Weapons.
You've got to be careful if Mr. Polar Bear is around. Now, the polar bear is a sea creature. Don't forget, he's the only bear that lives on the sea. He spends most of his life on the frozen sea. He's got webbed feet. If you look at that big paw, if you were to pull his toes apart, you'd see that they're webbed. And that makes him a very, very strong swimmer. So he's a sea creature. Scientists always give animals and plants Latin names. And his Latin name means sea bear. Versus maritimus, sea bear. So the Arctic fox is a land animal, but he will run out onto the sea if there's a dead seal close by.